No mai haere mai, and welcome to my Tuesday prose reading. Today I'm going to read from the novel Wheat in the Ear, which was published in 1898. It was written by Louisa Alice Baker, who was a journalist and a novelist, and was the first New Zealand woman to succeed in making a career out of writing novels. 17 of her novels were published between 1894 and 1910. Louisa Alice Baker was born in England in 1856 and she died in England in 1926. But for almost half her life she lived in New Zealand. And many of her novels have a New Zealand setting. So, from the novel Wheat in the Ear, I am reading from chapter 3, which is called Her Name Was Called John. The little church was built on the outskirts of the straggling township, a cheerless building with a corrugated iron roof, standing in an uncultivated paddock. The incumbent of the parish was away on a holiday, and when Tom and Janet led their offspring up the church steps and passed out of sunshine along the strip of coconut matting to the font, they were received by a severe-faced stranger, very old, very bald, and very deaf, from whose pinched and regular features the last memory of youth and freshness had departed long ago. He fixed his penetrating eyes first upon Janet, who trembled and coughed apologetically for having to trouble him, then upon Tom, the unabashed, and lastly upon the rosy-cheeked darling of their hearts, as though he was seriously displeased and desired them to know it. Mother burned at the stern look directed towards her lambkin. She had a sudden impulse to snatch up her treasure and run. She was arrested by a bright effulgence surrounding Joan, touching her short brown locks, shining on her long fringe-like eyelashes, softening her tinted cheeks, and splashing with purple and crimson the white of her frock. Turning to follow the transformation to its source, her eyes were riveted by a stained glass window, representing Christ wearing his thorn crown in simple majesty. From his outstretched hands the light shafts streamed upon the child. Janet smiled. When her emotion had passed, she became aware that the old man had drawn Joan near, and that Joan was bridling. "Name this child." "Joan," said Tom, with his head in the air and shoulders back, and an expression which affirmed that he should like to know why not. "John," snapped the deaf clergyman, "and do sign him with the sign, in token that he shall not be ashamed, and manfully to fight." But Joan's growing sense of insult had culminated at the indignity of having cold water thrown into her face, and with crimson cheeks and flashing eyes she clenched her little fists and said, in a tone that rang rebelliously through the sacred edifice, "I won't fight! I won't! I won't!" And she never did, not as an Orthodox Christian. That's all for now. See you next time. Mā te wā.